Where can you find a swamp, marshland, and a pine savanna all in the same area? Hello and welcome to today's video. My name is Stephen Cruthertz. I am one of the educators here at Infinity Science Center. And I am headed outside today and I want to invite you to join me for a brief tour of our Biome Boardwalk. So what is a biome? A biome is a naturally occurring community of plants and animals that are typically found in places like, a forest or a desert. And the Biome Boardwalk area is actually an area of wetlands that extends along the entire front of Infinity Science Center. There are 3 biomes in our boardwalk area. The area up towards the front of the museum near the pavilion, which is right there, and the retention ponds that we're coming up on, is a bayhead swamp. Now, a bayhead swamp is named after the sweet bay magnolia trees that can be found there. And the sweet bay magnolia is a member of the magnolia family, and the magnolia flower is the revered state flower of Mississippi. We also use the retention ponds for our education programs. Some of our classes have found things such as freshwater shrimp, dragonfly nymphs, and small fish, and if I am remembering correctly, crawfish in these waters. Here's a picture of an alligator I took earlier this summer underneath the edge of that observation deck right there, right in the water right underneath it. And so we do see gators around here, and the ones I've observed over the last couple of summers have been rather small specimens at about 4 feet or so, and they tend to move on when they get bigger. All right, moving on from the swamp, we get to this area right here where if you look on this side, we have a lot of trees. And on this side, we transition to much more grass and less trees. Now, this area is called an ecotone, which is an area of transition between 2 different biomes. So swamps tend to have trees and a lot of water, some grasses, and marshlands tend to have a lot fewer trees and a lot more grasses. So this area could be considered a pitcher plant bog because we have observed pitcher plants in the area. Although to make sure that it is a pitcher plant bog, we would need to have the water and soil tested. So here's a picture of a pitcher plant that was taken this summer. Now it's a yellow pitcher plant, and here is a similar pitcher plant that you can see inside our carnivorous plants conservatory. Now, pitcher plants tend to go dormant in the colder months, and then they will come back in the spring. They will flower, and then the pitchers will start to grow. Now, this area here is a lowland pine savanna. If you're watching closely, we transitioned from over here, where we have a lot more grasses, to over here, where there are a lot more shrubs and trees, a lot more woodier plants, so to speak. Now, there are 3 species of pine trees that can be found around the museum, and I'm going to point out 2 of those species to you today. And our master gardener helped me to identify these species just the other day. So this species here is a loblolly pine, and it has 3 needles per bunch of needles. It's an evergreen, which means it stays pretty much green all year round and loses some of its needles throughout the life cycle, but it will grow more green needles as it gets older, and it can take up to 50 years for this particular species of pine tree to mature. And this species right here is a slash pine. Now, the name of that species makes it you think that it is a hybrid, but it isn't. It is a separate species of pine tree, and they have been used for things like turpentine production, and they can typically have either 2 or 3 needles per bunch. Now, longleaf pines are another species of pine tree that can be found around here, and they can take 100 to 150 years to reach maturity. However, due to urbanization and logging practices, the longleaf pine forests of the U.S. have been greatly reduced in size. Now, you can observe longleaf pines along the Possum Walk Trail located behind Infinity Science Center. Thank you for joining me for this tour of the Biome Boardwalk today. We are open Thursday through Sunday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So come on down and pay us a visit.